My name is Peter Taylor and I'm Director of the Goldsmiths Centre, which is in Farringdon in London. The Goldsmiths Centre is a pretty unique facility. It brings together young people with established businesses to effectively bring them into our industry and to give them a route into skilled trades. I had not a clue that my City and Guilds education would lead me somehow to becoming the Director of the Goldsmiths Centre. Strange journey, but ended up going from the bench to being in charge of this beautiful building. I went to a very, very bad school and I cried. I absolutely cried when I discovered I was going there. I found school too prescriptive. I was always the kid that could do better, who wasn't really engaged. I struggled to understand what my career path was going to be and ultimately wanted to do something in art and design. Jewellery was a bit of a surprise and not something that I was really imagining that I was destined to do. Most of my family were involved in precision manufacturing. We'd had our own factories and I only discovered this when I was kind of into my time. A friend's mother was in the trade and she got me an application form for the School of Jewellery in Birmingham and I applied, not really caring whether I got in. So I did my tests, walked into my interview. They said, "Oh right, and what do you do outside of your work?" And I said, "Oh, I'm a racing cyclist." And they went, "Oh right, okay. Who do you ride for?" And I said, "Oh, I ride for the Solihull." And two of the guys that were there were cyclists. And they said, "We used to have a mate that lived over in your part of the world, Dave Taylor." And I said, "Yeah, he was my dad, and he was the team photographer." And that was it. I knew I'd got my place. And it's those little moments when you're able to make a connection. I had a visit from the Goldsmiths Company to a project that I was running in Birmingham, an innovation centre for the jewellery industry. And the clerk at the time, Robin Buchanan Dunlop, and a guy called Dr. Stuart Devlin, who was very well-known goldsmith and silversmithing designer, decided to visit this innovation centre that I developed. And we had a lovely visit and it was great. And about 2 years later, Robin wrote to me and said, "We're looking to recruit a new Director of Technology and Training. Can you recommend anyone?" So I wrote back and said, "Look, I can't recommend anybody, but if you advertise it, I'd be interested in applying." And sometimes you have to put yourself out there. There are those turning points where you have a moment where you can actually go, "Oh, well, I know this really good guy and I'll recommend her or him over myself, but I knew I was the right person for the job." Who would have thought that someone who went through the academic process that I went through would end up project managing a £17 million building? What motivates me? Satisfaction and feeling like you've made a difference. Gosh, can't buy that, can you? When I was younger, the things that I really wish I knew then that I know now is that it's all going to be all right. And actually you need to have your eyes wide open to every opportunity that comes along. I am a manifestation of what can happen if you start off having failed at school and you take opportunities that come along and you meet wonderful people who give you opportunities. You should always grasp them because ultimately you could end up doing the most amazing things and you never know. And this idea that if you haven't got fantastic academic qualifications, that's going to be a barrier to achievement. It's a barrier only in your mind and the minds of the people who are around you that think that's the only route. For everybody else, there's opportunities.